What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today, I want to talk a little bit about my book on mindset. That's right. I went through a little bit of a transformational change and I documented it on the book. And let's get into it. What's going on, guys? Once again, welcome back to the channel. My name is Scott King. I run a DJ company over here in Orlando, Florida. If you want to follow us on social media, you can check it out at www.djsorlando.com. This is where I was able to take all the life coaching lessons that I learned, applied it to my own company, and I had continual success with my business since 2020 to where we are now. Also, guys, I want to be able to teach these things to other people so they can become empowered as well. And if that sounds interesting to you, I run a coaching business. www.coachscottking.com for more details. Join the Facebook group, ask questions, and lots of classes, on-demand classes that I'm now getting to the website because I'm starting to understand how that part works. But today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about my book, right? So basically, what had happened to me was that I was working for these other talent agencies, and I didn't like how they were treating me, and I was doing things against my identity that was making me depressed. One of the things was I would, go out there, lose a lot of weight to make sure that I look good on stage. And some may say that, losing weight is probably good for you. Yet at the same reasons, the reasons I was doing it was to like outdo other people that were considered my competitors so that I would be able to be first pick when gigs came around. And I pretty much lived my whole livelihood on that. Got to a point where I was starting to get a little bit depressed about it. And then I hit a breaking point right before 2020, right before COVID, somewhere around November. Anyway, I was depressed, suppressed, and couldn't figure out what was going on. And the only thing that I had was that I was working for talent agencies that wanted to pretend they were friends. I didn't realize what a narcissist was. I didn't realize how fake things could be. I thought I could like outwork it type thing, especially when you're dealing with a narcissist. You could show them all the information. And that's what I did. I showed them the information, how I was making less money and working more hours. And then they told me it was all in my head, which was considered gaslighting. And then I didn't know what the word gaslighting even meant. So that started a chain reaction that had got me to where I am today. So, of course, I didn't know what a narcissist was, and I wanted to figure out what that meant. So I went on YouTube and I found different videos, and it's a pretty serious thing to call someone a narcissist. So I, dig in deeper, dig in deeper. I wanted to become certified in NLP so that, if anybody was to question my opinion or something like that, I'd be, well, I got certified. I did all the research and studies that I could find in order to, make sure that I was well informed in any decisions that I made. And then on top of that, I decided that I wanted to learn about hypnosis. And that's when I became certified in hypnosis. And if you know the two things, they kind of, work together. Language patterns with hypnosis is one and the same kind of. Once you understand both disciplines, you understand how they work together and can superpower each other, especially when you're in hypnosis. It's the same thing as NLP work, but in hypnosis it's like supercharged because you're just talking to your subconscious directly. But anyway, the reason I wanted to go down this path is because I thought I could outwork these narcissistic business owners, talent agency owners that were basically pulling my strings at will, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. It all had to do with language patterns. And if you want to learn how to, learn the language patterns the way that I learned them so that you can get yourself out of any situation or at least find a win-win with any situation, I have a class. And if you go to the website, go to the on-demand classes, and I have something called Sleight of Mouth, which will help you, in any situation. Again, these are all things. If you're at threshold, if you're willing to make changes, or you're fed up with where you are and you want to go somewhere else, and you don't like how people are talking to you, ever had a conversation and then you walked away from it feeling bad and you're not sure why? Well, there's all these different tricks that people play. And then if you're educated and can call those things out, then you're good to go. So one of the things that I learned, which wasn't even part of Sleight of Mouth, it was just one of my sales classes. It was this thing called humble pie. So the thing that the talent agent would say to me is, I'm doing all that I can for you, to try and make me feel bad and give in and, leave them alone for not getting what I was, rightfully told I would get anyway. And when this person would come up short, they would say, I'm doing all that I can for you. What else do you expect me to do? And well, let's just say when I started learning what these language patterns were, and I was like, really? All that you can do for me? Why don't you name me 5 things? And then this person would say, oh, what do you mean? You don't want to take me for my word? Well, you're just being difficult to work with. All defensive, right? All I asked was for some clarification. And then, things like that unraveled a whole bunch of other language patterns. And again, humble pie was just one of them. Figuring out what gaslighting was. All right, so if you guys don't know what gaslighting is, that's where they say that it's all in your head. So basically, what had happened with this talent agency is that they said if I was invested in their company and worked for them, that I would make more money towards the end of the year. So I put my numbers together. I have QuickBooks, and that was another thing too. It's best to keep your subcontractors confused if they don't have QuickBooks. And then if I have too many gigs and forget to pay them, then oops, then that was something else you had to deal with. So I was also looked bad upon because the new talent that would come in, I would teach them QuickBooks so that they would get paid properly. And there was something like a net 30, which is something else I don't understand as well. Like if you want me to show up to a gig but not pay me till 30 to sometimes 60 or 90 days after the event, that just wasn't working for me. And explaining it to this narcissist was like, what do you mean? I'm getting all the work that I can for you. I don't know why this isn't, something good for you, because what you're going to do, go out and get your own. Well, eventually, yes. I got so fed up with that. So anyway, I had my QuickBooks, and then I presented my information, and I have that email still here somewhere where it was showing an increase up until the last year, where I was, doing more gigs, getting paid more per gig, and then there was a drop off, right? Like for the next year. And I was explaining that I was working more, I was getting paid less per gig, plus working more gigs, and then I think I was short nine or $10,000 from the previous year. So I was doing more, getting paid less, and even getting paid less over the whole year. And then when I brought this information forward, well, first of all, it was kind of shunned off to the side. Well, okay, I'll look at this eventually, not realizing how serious I was about it. And then on top of that, 3 or 4 months down the road, I finally got a response. The way the response came across was more like I was being the attacker, instead of like, oh, I'm sorry you feel this way. Let's take a look at it and see how we can make this better. No, it was more like, I can't believe you're doing this to me. These are the numbers. It's all in your head, and all these other accusations instead of being, somebody where I'd helped build the company, I'd train guys, they lived with me, there was all this stuff going on. And then on top of that, I was just being overlooked. And the thing that got me was I was told I wasn't being a team player. So now I was like, okay, well, since that's the case, I'm just going to leave altogether. And, this person was, doubling down on the fact, or doubling down on the substance or the scenario that I wasn't going to leave, because I'd have to build up everything that I, helped him build up, which I thought I had some sort of security for getting those gigs. So on top of that, he didn't think I was going to, actually double down and just cut all the ties, which is what I ended up doing, because why work for somebody who's just going to lie to you or tell you it's all in your head and not, have a good growth with that. And then top of that, if I'm building up the whole team and not being appreciated for it and being told I'm not being a team player, why would I stay there anyway? So I tell my team, I literally walked away from 120K and told the guy to stuff it. Well, between two agencies, it was 120K. With this one, it was like 80K, and another one was like 40. But similar situations, like I just wasn't being treated right. And every time I brought it up, it was like I was being difficult. Well, now I have my own company, so I can do what I want. And I basically told talent agencies to go ahead and stuff it, and then built my own, which, goes back to the book of my transformation, right? Just a few stories. So basically, make sure to get the book. It explains the thought process and how I was able to become more confident through the use of values and structures. And also, I explain a lot of what's in this book and on a free class inside the website. So if you go to coachscottking.com, and let's say you don't want to read the book because I didn't have enough money to pay for an audio book, but I probably could AI it somehow. But anyway, if you didn't want to read the book, you could go to the website and get a free class. I just set it up. So if you go to the coachscottking.com and go to the on-demand classes, then I put up a free class, and it's basically, the building blocks and the foundation for how I was able to, build the mindset to build the company that I built. And it all starts, with the mindset before you start doing the actions, right? Understanding and rebuilding the foundations. You have something strong to build off of. So basically, guys, here's the book. Certified hypnotist, certified NLP practitioner, certified in a whole bunch of other things that I was taking while I was online during 2020. Also, I have a Full Sail degree, and I have a bachelor's degree in radio communication, which never stop learning. Always keep learning. All right. So that's pretty much all I have for right now. In get the book. I'll leave a link. Peace.